Anomalisa.
Anomalisa, yeah. Charlie Kaufman. You know about him?
I know of him.
You should know about him. He's one of the greatest screenwriters in the world.
He hasn't been at it for a while.
About 7 years. His last film was called Synecdoche, New York. Some people pronounce it Synecdoche. What are we going to say? Let's say Synecdoche.
Synecdoche.
Yeah. Synecdoche, by the way.
Synecdoche.
No, it's doc. It's C-H-E.
Synecdoche.
Synecdoche.
I did actually
Don't be a
cynic,
okay? It was his directorial debut. Before that, other people had made his films and he had always written them, and he was one of the most celebrated screenwriters in Hollywood. He had films like, the big one was Being John Malkovich.
Which I loved. I loved that,
Everyone loved it. It was kind of, he announced himself to the world at that stage.
Yeah.
After that, he had Adaptation, was probably my personal favourite, with Nicolas Cage playing both Charlie Kaufman and Charlie Kaufman's fantasy twin brother.
Okay.
And it's about the writing of the film that you're watching. It's a fascinating film and a hilariously funny film too. There's usually some kind of version of himself, like a veiled kind of postmodern version of Charlie Kaufman within all his stories. They're usually kind of sort of male menopausal, sad sack, very anxiety ridden 40-somethings. Nothing like you or I.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing like us.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything from Kaufman for about 7 years. He's back with this.
Yeah, do you know what he was doing those 7 years? I was curious about that. There's a big gap. He made a TV movie, wrote and directed.
Wrote and directed.
Yeah. I'm giving you a piece of information.
You're a wealth of information.
Do you want to swap seats?
I thought
we can swap seats. So 6 years he wasn't making anything.
7 years.
7 years.
It's 7 years since his last release.
Potato.
Potato, yeah.
Potato, 6 or 7. 7 years he wasn't making anything.
He was
he didn't make.
He was making this. He was writing this. I mean, actually, this was already written. This was a stage play from 2005.
Okay.
But what's very interesting about this is that he's got together with a animator called Duke Johnson.
Okay.
So the entire thing is animated. It's all stop motion animation.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about this is that there's no recognisable Hollywood faces in it.
Yeah.
And there's also very few recognisable Hollywood voices in it, because there's only two really discernible voices in it, and that is David Thewlis, who is a Northern English actor who's got a very kind of reedy sort of voice like that. And the other voice that we can make out is, well, you might not be able to, but it's Jennifer Jason Leigh. Every other voice in this character's environment is voiced by one man, and that's Tom Noonan, who plays, whether it's his wife, his son, the bellboy at the hotel, everyone is voiced by this one actor called Tom Noonan. The idea with that is that it's meant to make us think that life has become so mundane and so boring to this character, Michael is his name, that
one thing
it's so monotonous. Everything's just so monotonous. His character is a customer services guru who's going to a conference in Cincinnati. Completely. It's completely just that horrible world of conferences and office speak and horrible business hotels, and that is this guy's life. And you can see he's got grey hair, he's got a grey face, his life is grey, everything's grey about him. All the voices around him are all sound the same because they are the same. His marriage seems on the outside quite fine, but he is not happy with it, he's not satisfied with it, and there's some kind of a despondency that is growing in him. He goes to this hotel. He goes to the hotel bar through a very kind of wacky, surrealist scene. This is where you realise, okay, it's definitely Charlie Kaufman. There is that kind of wacky fantasy aside that will just suddenly happen. Yeah. He meets this girl. He falls head over heels for her, of course. Yeah. And he falls head over heels for her because he's looking for something. And this is a very Kaufman-esque thing. It's not Kaufman-esque because it is Kaufman. A very Kaufman theme. It's character looking around desperately for something that's going to save them. And very soon what you come to realise, and it's only 90 minutes long, this film, but as soon as he gets her and he spends the night with her, it becomes very apparent that the only thing that can fix Michael's life is Michael. He's not going to find resolutions. And again, that's very Kaufman theme. Yeah. It's a superb film, and it's very, very clever, and it's got that real dry undertow of humour that Kaufman always brings to his thing, but it's also got that very overt surrealist wacky. Oh, okay. Well, there is a sex scene in it between the two.
Okay,
the two dogs.
that's enough.
You're in. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And a very.
What minutes? Just tell me. Can I make a note? What minutes?
I think it's around. It must be around the sort of 52nd, 53rd minute. I'd say. If I had to guess.
Thank you very much. That's great. Yeah.
No
great.
problem. Yeah. Well, one of the things is about that sex scene too is that you immediately start thinking. You see the clothes coming off. You see them getting into it. You think, oh my god. Team America, World Police.
Okay.
You know, that's immediate. Oh my god, this is gonna be hilariously funny. Yeah. It's actually not. It's very tender, very measured, and very realistic.
Okay.
Sex scene. You know, it's there is a strange to say, even though because it's all animated, there's kind of a starkness to this, sort of an uncompromising foot that's in reality.
Okay.
Even though it looks completely fantastical in many ways, and is in many ways, it's got that Kaufman thing where he suddenly goes down to this weird office in this weird basement in the hotel, and is it a dream or is this a representation of something? That stuff does creep in too.
Yeah.
But in other ways, it's incredibly grounded in reality.
Okay.
It's got an iconic feel. It's got a classic feel. You won't have seen anything like it in a long while.
Okay.
And there's a lot of meat to it as well.
Okay.
And I think it is a very special film, and you know, poignant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Olivia Laing's The Lonely City.
Yes.
Yeah, you heard about this?
I haven't heard about it, no.
Okay, well, it's a new non-fiction title that's coming out, I think, this weekend. This is very accessible, though. It doesn't have that highbrow, snooty, spectacle-pushing self-regard that a lot of arts criticism does.
Okay.
It's very much on a human level. It's very accessible. The language is... speaks in terms that can be understood and appreciated by everybody, and I think that's one of the great things about this book, and it's probably the reason that it's going to be, I think, one of the standout non-fiction titles at the end of the year. She moved to New York a few years ago, and she was overcome by this feeling of great isolation and loneliness, the kind that only people get in big cities for some strange reason. And she decides to explore this theme of loneliness through the great artistic harvest that New York has always provided. Now, New York, as a lot of people know, during the 20th century has been one of the great international hubs for the arts.
Yeah.
Whether it's music, visual arts, performance art.
Hopefully Trump is going to get rid of all that now.
Absolutely, yeah. But we've had enough of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, she has a great one about the internet. She rents out this tiny, horrible little bedsit near Times Square that's continually flooded with light pollution from all the ads in Times Square. Yeah. And she spends this inordinate amount of time. She wakes up in the morning, describes very well, just kind of creaking out a yawn before her eyes are even fully open. She's just dragged the laptop onto her lap, and she's on social media.
Oh, well,
you know?
We all do that.
She talks about this addiction. And is this a symptom of loneliness, or is this actually creating a lonely society? A society where we want to stay indoors and live through this kind of this strange, I think she calls it like a slippery promise of control that the internet gives us. The artists were troubled. I think what she's also saying though is that loneliness is not just the burden of a small amount of people who are suffering depression, and it's actually something that is a lot more common than we think, and especially in big urbanized hubs like New York, where people live very fast, very impersonal lives, where their careers are performance driven, where they have to go that extra 9 yards.
Yeah.
And I think one of the other great things about this book that I loved is that it's kind of a love letter to New York as well, and the fact that, you know, New York used to be a bit of a war zone. Like it was a rough place, but it also it nurtured this incredible expression and incredible music, incredible art. You know, she kind of concludes by saying that art can't cure AIDS, and art can't, you know, stitch up a wound, and it can't fix all ills. But what it can do is it can soothe you, it can give you solace, and it can also tell you that not all wounds need to be stitched up, and not all wounds are ugly.
Okay, that's quite nice. It's broad enough what you said for, but it's not for everybody.
Oh well, hopefully from what we've been talking about, people have an idea whether or not it's for them or not. But I would say give it a go. Don't be afraid of it. Don't think that it's going to be over your head. It's very personable. It's very well written. It's very accessible, and I think there's a lot to take away from it, no matter who you are, whether you've seen an Edward Hopper painting or not.
Okay, fair play. You said you'd a little surprise.
Yeah, a gig this weekend happening Saturday night in Whelans, €10 in. A band called Bleeding Heart Pigeons. I'm not set on the name. Bleeding Heart Pigeons.
I like it.
Yeah. The guy from Virgin, the suit from Virgin came to their house in Limerick, went down to the garage at the back where the band jam and signed the band, and the family are all there, the mother making cups of tea. It's very commitments, it's great.
That's pretty cool, yeah. And there's still tickets available?
There are still tickets available, yeah. It's €10. Probably pick them up at the door. If not, get on to Ticketmaster and get them, just to be sure. It should be very good. I've seen clips of them live on Other Voices.
You're going?
I'm definitely going, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can tell us all, about all 4 people, about this next week?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that 4 including us?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Batman vs Superman is coming out on March 25th. Have you seen the ad for Batman vs Superman? First of all, are you going to do a review for that?
I believe so. I'll be going either way.
You're going to go anyway? Okay.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
There hasn't been any notice about a press screening yet.
Okay.
So we'll see. Because it's such a huge release, we might get one the day before, we could get one the morning of the release, we could get one 10 days beforehand.
So here's what I would say to you. I'd say we've already seen the movie from the ads they've put out.
Yeah, they've done this.
They did it with Man of Steel as well.
Yeah, they've done a real kind of long game here with the trailers, and each trailer is adding a little bit more and a little bit more, and by the time you get the final trailer, which I think we just had a couple of weeks ago,
there was one that was the 3-minute long one, which in my mind it just gave the movie away.
Yeah, yeah, and this is becoming quite a big problem, and it's one of the reasons that I never watch the trailer before I go to the press screening, because you can either have a situation where the trailer has everything essential that is in the film, and the film itself is a complete letdown, or the trailer can be quite well done and look a bit naff even perhaps.
Well, but
and then the film itself.
It should be just a tease for a movie. Like the Star Wars trailer was perfect.
Yeah.
You didn't know anything that was really going to happen. Okay, you just it built the excitement.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like kind of going all in. And
they go with this chronological thing as well, where they all just do like sort of like a potted version of the movie.
Batman
like
v Superman. They fight, and then a bigger enemy comes along, and they fight him.
And Wonder Woman.
And Wonder Woman comes along to save the day with them. So
saved my day.
That's but she's still not the same as the original. So
she's better.
No, I don't know. I don't know about now. She was the first for me now. He ruined Man of Steel, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. He ruined Man of Steel, and I think he's going to ruin this again with loads of glitz and whatever it is.
But you're still going to see it.
But I am going to see it, yeah.
Well, there you are.
Yeah, still.
Not happy about this.
I am actually. Everything. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
I'd love to say it was a pleasure, but it was
painful enough.
It was something.
Okay. We are one, but are you? And take you down. Hey!